President Trump is urging Republicans to stick together, and in his words from a tweet last night, fight. This as the White House tries to recover from an admission by the president's acting chief of staff this week that the U.S. did withhold $400 million in U.S. military aid to Ukraine. The new fuel for impeachment in the impeachment inquiry comes amid growing bipartisan criticism of the president's decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria. Weijia Jiang is at the White House with more on all of this. Weijia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Jeff, and good morning, everybody. President Trump insists that he made the right call in Syria, even though backlash is sharp and continues to grow. Meanwhile, few voices here at the White House and in his own party are sticking up for the president when it comes to that impeachment inquiry. And finally, even though Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney made public remarks this week, he ended up doing much more harm than good.
I think he clarified it.
On Friday, President Trump quickly changed the subject when asked to clarify a stunning admission from his acting chief of staff.
And I have news for everybody. Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy.
Mick Mulvaney admitted there was a quid pro quo involving U.S. military aid to Ukraine and said the president froze the money to get Ukraine to investigate debunked theories about 2016 election meddling.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about in corruption with that nation. And that is absolutely appropriate.
Hours later, Mulvaney reversed his comments in a statement, saying there was absolutely no quid pro quo. President Trump tried to shift the attention to the Biden family after Deputy Assistant Secretary of State George Kent testified he raised concerns in 2015 about Hunter Biden serving on the board of a Ukrainian gas company when his father was still the vice president. But those red flags were ignored.
He excoriated the Obama administration and Joe Biden's son, saying that he has tremendous problems with Joe Biden's son and the Ukraine.
Mr. Trump is also punching back against fierce criticism over his decision to pull U.S. troops out of Syria, leaving Kurdish fighters to fend for themselves against the Turkish military.
We're doing very, very well with Turkey. There's a ceasefire or a pause or whatever you want to call it.
But the Turkish president has vowed to resume the attack in 3 days if the Kurds do not leave the area by then. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, usually a Trump ally, warned of a resurgence of ISIS. In a Washington Post op-ed, he wrote, "Withdrawing U.S. forces from Syria is a grave strategic mistake. It will leave the American people and homeland less safe, embolden our enemies, and weaken important alliances." President Trump says some European nations have agreed to take in ISIS fighters that were being detained by the Kurds, but so far no countries have made that announcement. Back here at home, the president is dealing with another departure from his cabinet. He announced that Dan Brouillette, the number 2 in the Energy Department, will take over when Secretary Rick Perry leaves by the end of the year. Perry insists this has nothing to do with his role in the administration's Ukraine policy, which, of course, Michelle, is at the center of the impeachment inquiry.
It has been a revolving door. Weijia Jiang, thank you.